Hello, everybody. Thank you and welcome for coming today. This is our What's Coming to Northbeam in 2025 product webinar. This is the first we've had of these. Probably won't be the last, but this is an exciting new type of webinar that we're doing, especially for you, our customers, or people who are in our Northbeam community. We just wanted to create an opportunity to share what we're thinking about building this year, a new level of transparency so that you can be excited about the stuff we're doing and have an idea of what's going on. And also, I have to admit, this is an exclusive first look. So if you're on this webinar, you're going to hear about a lot of stuff that hasn't been announced to the public yet, which is always exciting and always cool, and gives you an opportunity to maybe even participate in that work. So first of all, my name is Bryan. I'm the Director of Growth here at Northbeam. And on the webinar with us today, we have Stas Goldobin, who's our VP of Product. Stas, thanks for being here today.
It's great to be here.
I'm going to go ahead and set this up and let's get started. So first of all, I want to set the scene for everybody here. So we've set on a vision for our product in 2025 that's really leading what we're doing in terms of product development and new feature design. And it boils down to 3 points. One, making Northbeam easier to use and allowing you to find faster decisions within it. So this is something we've talked about for a long time. Making Northbeam faster and easier just means that your reporting is going to be faster and easier. And we've made a lot of commitments and a lot of developments that we'll talk about later that's going to bring us to this point. 2 is profitability measurement. We've been harping for a long time that profitability is the number one thing that's so important to a lot of performance marketers right now at all stages of the funnel. So we've made that a big priority for our product this year. And 3rd is more data for those profitability strategies. So we're going to talk a lot about new metrics we have coming out, new things that we've developed. Answering the profitability problem is not just about building a dashboard. It's actually about recording and calculating specific metrics that you all need access to. And we want to prioritize that going into this year. So the first thing I want to talk about is the ease of use updates. So Stas, we have a lot of new ease of use updates coming this year. Why is that important to our customers and the people on this webinar?
So I think you're going to hear from our tone of voice that we're really excited about this year. And this coming first is really important. Great marketing attribution requires synthesizing and correlating 3 really complicated data sets. It is your spend, it is user events, it is revenue across all your channels. And Northbeam does this better than anybody else. We give you a wealth of models, breakdowns, filtering, reporting, tools to answer your pressing marketing questions. But what we've heard from the people in this room and from the breadth of our customers is that while you value all the power at your fingertips, sometimes looking through like a deep chest of tools when all you need is a wrench is slowing you down. To keep this toolbox analogy going, we're working on something we're calling Northbeam 2.0. And the principles about it is just like we will organize your toolbox. We will give you more powerful tools and we'll give you the tool you need when you need it. And we want to get you back to work quickly. We want to speed up how quickly you can make really good decisions rather than hunting for tools. And as part of Northbeam 2.0, you're going to get a more consistent, more focused, and faster dashboards. We're going to give the table a big overhaul to make it easier to use. We're going to make it bigger when you're diving deep into your data. We're going to improve your visualizations. We're going to give you more contextual tooltips. And the big one here is that we're going to give you the power to grade every marketing effort, every dollar of media spend through the lens of profitability so that you can quickly focus on the platforms, campaigns, and ad sets and ads where you can make the biggest impact.
That sounds amazing. I'm really excited for this. As someone who's been using the Northbeam dashboard for years now, like this is a totally new world for us. So I'm really excited. Forgot to mention, if you have questions, put them in the Q&A. We're going to get to them at the end. Speaking of profitability, which you just talked a whole bunch about, you said that word like 4 or 5 times just talking about that dashboard, right? Why are we so focused on that in 2025?
Well, I think one of the interesting things in our conversation that the marketing community comes to us because we are focused on revenue. And the marketers in this room are the best in the world because you grow your brands. You drive profit. So we're building a set of tools that we're calling profitability benchmarks. that give you analytical superpowers to understand what is driving long-term profitable growth. Profitability benchmarks will let you grade your marketing performance through a methodology that, one, aligns the financial conversations you have with your CFO, the marketing investment cycle, that dollars in media spent today, especially brand building and awareness building dollars, return revenue over the coming weeks and months, and also address the challenges of comparing metrics across strategies, channels, platforms, and the marketing funnel. Profitability benchmarks will pinpoint profitable days from which you will derive a gold standard, and it will filter out all the noise that could skew results. At the end of this, you will get a set of unique profitable benchmarks based on a holistic analysis of your proven marketing strategies. Once adopted, these benchmarks will dynamically adjust to match whatever analysis you're doing with Northbeam. You love one model, you love one attribution window, it will all work regardless of the accounting mode that you use, regardless of the filters and breakdowns that you use within Northbeam. And some of the power behind this is that once you dive into these, once you adopt them, once you use them to day-to-day decisions, you will notice things like your upper funnel prospecting campaigns will be profitable at a lower benchmark than your lower funnel demand capture campaigns. That your blended first time and returning ROAS benchmarks, they will be different because we want to make sure that you're maximizing profitability across the entire customer journey. And that you will also notice that your daily one-day benchmarks, they grow, they ladder up into bigger, higher, more sustainable long-term benchmarks that truly reflect the full impact of your media spend. So profitability benchmarks are in alpha today, with the beta coming later this quarter. So if you want to be an early adopter, please reach out to your support and media strategy teams.
This is really exciting because this is something that I don't feel like I've seen before, or maybe something that I've calculated personally in Excel, like over the years, but it's never been something baked into the dashboard or built on Northbeam's first party data, which is a huge differentiator here.
Yeah, one of the things that we really like with profitability benchmarks, it also allows us to do something rather unique, that we're helping you make decisions faster without trying to make the data that the complicated data underneath your business any less sophisticated. So we're keeping all the sophistication, but we are accelerating your decision-making cycle, and we're giving you the power to set the grade.
This is probably my favorite thing in this deck so far. Not that I don't love everything that you're doing, Stas. I absolutely love all of it, but this feature is one that I'm really, really excited to explore with
I appreciate
it. But these updates, they rely on the underlying data, and we're working on building some new things to help support that. We are a data company. What we are providing is these dashboards, yes, but the real power of it is the data sets that exist underneath that. And we've had to build some new stuff to help us bring that vision to life. Stas, can you talk a little bit about some of the stuff we have coming this year in terms of new data sets, new KPIs, or new integrations and things that we're building?
Yeah, I love this tee up because though what you see is a beautiful experience within Northbeam, the real power behind it is the data. So we're going to be expanding the data capabilities across the board. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the clicks and views enhanced. I know that all of you have experienced the clicks and views model and you love it, but you understand that it's underpinned by a model, by probabilistic events, our understanding of how various things are correlating within the system. We're enhancing this with the deterministic views from our ad platform. So we're partnering with ad platforms. They are sending over actual impression and click events that have happened in app instead of on your website. And we're blending that with the first party data that we collect off of your website and then creating a join over there. So this is in beta with TikTok today, and we have a few more partners throughout the year that we're already in talks with, that we're deep down the line with, and you'll see clicks and views enhanced rolling out to additional ad platforms this year. Next, we also have Apex. We're taking what we've done with Apex, we're supercharging it, and we're rolling it out with more partners. We already know about the Meta partnership. We're going to increase the granularity of the data that we share out with Apex to make sure that the sophistication of the optimization that is possible back inside of the ad platform, where they're not using their simplistic, narrow understanding of performance, but rather using what you decide is your Northbeam of performance. And we're going to be partnering with more platforms. So stay tuned. In addition to Meta, more platforms are coming to Apex, and Apex itself is just getting better. And then we're also adding new KPIs based on the data that we already collect. So Northbeam is exceptional at giving you order level insights. We're now going to be adding, in addition to that, in the context of the analysis you're doing, also customer journey based insights that basically wrap out multiple orders together. So we've heard feedback that people want a returning CAC that's not denominated on orders. So we're going to be introducing fractional customer attribution in addition to fractional order attribution. We will also make sure that all the complementary metrics that use revenue as a denominator or cost as a denominator can be run on an order level or a customer level, again, with fractional attribution, the way that it should be. So you're not double counting customers. And we're going to be bringing some of the insights that come out of that, like the customer journey insights, like how many touch points is a customer journey that gives credit to Meta, for example, versus something else, that those will all come up. Those will be contextually surfaced. So you can have a full customer journey understanding where you're trying to also understand the attributed revenue, attributed ROAS to a particular marketing effort. So I think this kind of wraps up what we're doing this year. This is sort of like a glimpse into some of the things that are very high up in our priority list. Things will come in addition to that, but this is sort of like the tip of the 2025 iceberg. I'm really looking forward to seeing how all of you interact with it. And it's going to be an exciting year.
Yeah, I feel like it's so amazing to have the privilege of one, being exposed as we are to so many different types of businesses all the time and dictating what our priorities are as a result. And like what we're seeing here, what people are saying to us, and what is needed in terms of marketing analytics and metrics is integrity, profitability, and speed. Like these are the things people are asking for all the time. And it's not just about being reactive to what people need, it's about listening to our customers and hearing what they want. And a lot of this is dictated by our relationships that we have with you all on this webinar. So I can't say enough. Thank you so much for being here. Please keep talking to us, telling us what you need, what you're looking for, what you want, and the problems that you're having. Because with Stas here, with our new vision, we're able to bring things to life really, really quickly. Speaking of bringing things to life very quickly, I believe we already have some stuff available now, which if you all are checking your email, I've been blowing you up about a ton. But Stas, I would love if you could talk through a little bit some of the stuff that's available now and what people might want to use it for.
Yeah, so just as you're getting into 2025 and kickstarting your year, there's a couple of things you can use already. First and foremost, Metrics Explorer. It's been out a little bit, but not everybody has had a chance to use it. It is if you have a question that you want to answer and that data exists within Northbeam, you can visually tell the story of that inside of Metrics Explorer. It also comes baked in with sort of like a Pearson correlation coefficient, so you can see things like halo effects, something that any of you who are advertising on Amazon would also note that there's an enormous halo effect between marketing efforts elsewhere and revenue driven by Amazon. That's just one of the correlation analysis that is easy to do within Metrics Explorer. It's also, again, I'm biased. It's a little fun to use. I highly encourage you to give it a try when you already know what you're looking for. We have a couple of baked in analyses to kind of like whet your appetite. But whenever customers come to me and I interact with them and we're trying to understand their data, to have them tell me like, what is the story behind what we're doing? I almost always lean onto Metrics Explorer because it lets me tell a simple story visually. The other one is Product Analytics, which got a nice little iterative improvement last week, which is a merchandising first lens on your MTA data. It still uses all the power of MTA, but it tells you a story about the products you're selling first, and then the marketing that underpins it second. But of course, you can, click on a campaign and just ask the question of like, which products is this campaign selling? Is it what I would expect? It also comes baked in with attributed spend to products. So this is another net new kind of attribution analysis of like, okay, when you were doing this marketing for this campaign, the impact of that is that you were directionally spending this proportion of that campaign's budget on selling these products based on the outcome of what actually happened. I know there's intent a lot behind a lot of these, behind a lot of campaigns. The intent is sometimes different based on how customers respond to things. So this tries to give you, infer that intent and that result through a product first lens.
This is, I think, a really exciting and new perspective on this work. Sitting in on some of the beta tests and some of the clients that you showed this to, uh, I was really excited to see how many people had just immediate ideas of what they would do and how they would tackle it. So this one is most exciting to me. Who is this available for right now again?
So this is available to everybody on Shopify. If you also spend on Amazon, we can make this available to you too. It's just missing the Amazon dataset because of, we can get into it. There are details in there. And it's going to be coming out to everybody else who is using the Orders API to integrate with us kind of later in the year.
Great, thank you. That brings us to the end here. First things first, I want to say, Stas, thank you so much for being here. We're really excited for this roadmap. Thanks for giving us, some new releases and some perspective on what our goals are this year and how we're trying to help customers. Second, I want to thank everybody who's here right now. It's because of you that Northbeam is what it is. I'm proud to say that customer referrals are pretty much our strongest source of new business. So you going out, spreading the good word about us, telling people, hey, Northbeam is helping me, you should try it out, is really important to me. And let me know if there's anything that I personally can do to help you bring new people in, share the good word, whatever it may be. Secondly, finally here, I want to get to some of our questions. We have a lot of questions here in the chat. Some of these I think we can speak to, others I'm not as sure. So we're going to pull up some here. First, I have a question from Taylor Kane. Are there any new Northbeam attribution models or changes to the existing models to account for industry shifts over the last year, like the wider adoption of AppLovin? Correct me if I'm wrong, but the way that our models work, typically your models are adjusted specifically based on your data and what you're doing.
Correct.
I think this question here, the answer is yes, we always have, and we always will be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can also add a little color here is that we've worked with AppLovin pretty closely because they are just a fast mover. And they're also one of the partners with which we're talking about improved attributions. I think there's some people who are AppLovin customers who have experienced some of the early alphas, but that's just going to roll out to everybody else. The good news is that our attribution models will work regardless of what ad platforms you run. And paired with profitability benchmarks, if your strategies change over time, the benchmarks will themselves reflect that change. So there, but again, get into the private beta of profitability benchmarks alongside of me, and you'll kind of see that change.
Yeah, exactly. I want to reiterate that as like something that everyone can do. I have to say, we're really responsive to customers. If you want to try something, if you want to be a part of something, reach out and get in touch with your account rep, get in touch with the support team. There's over and over consistently opportunities to be part of our betas. It's not a restrictive or invite only thing. If you're interested and you qualify, we'll plug you in. So if you want to be on the cutting edge of something, just hit us up and we'll let you know if it's a fit, and we'll put you right in there. Next thing, we actually talked about this a little bit in an internal meeting last week, Stas, so I'm not sure if we necessarily want to talk about this, our perspective on this publicly yet, but I have a question from Henry about what about true test versus control incrementality measurement?
Yeah.
Do you see this coming into your platform alongside the profitability lift?
Yeah, I think this is more of a philosophical question because incrementality can mean different things depending on what you're trying to accomplish. And I just like personally, I come from a world of where the gold standard is incremental revenue, and here it's incremental profit. So the answer is, the short answer is yes, incrementality is very much top of mind for us. We might have a slightly different lens on it, But any incrementality efforts you're running today are complementary to whatever you're doing within Northbeam and can be included inside of Northbeam. How there's a nuance there. Again, the best way to get to talk about that is within the context of profitability, and also assuming that your incremental tests are also being tracked within Northbeam. You can then isolate what Northbeam has measured as the incrementality results for that test using the MTA models that you use day to day for everything else, so you can make it back into an apples to apples comparison.
If you're listening to this right now and you want to know more about that and why we have that perspective, I'm happy to say I have it in my to-do list to speak a lot about this over the coming months, weeks and months in our newsletter. Sign up for our newsletter at northbeam.io/newsletter, and I'll be talking a lot about that philosophy and why we've chosen this specific perspective. Next up, we have an anonymous ask here. Are there any plans to better capture ROAS on TV platforms, which are more view-based versus click? I know we have some great integrations right now, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the short answer is yes. The long answer is yes. Like anything else, it takes work, but it is something that we are thinking about, both from a lens of who the right partner is and what does this mean for our identity graph.
I have another question here. I wondered if this would be something that would pique some interest. Right now, Stas, you mentioned some site analytics. Do you have, coming to Northbeam, do you have any additional detail you could provide there now on this webinar about site analytics and what we're covering?
No, I think we'll leave that for later, just to make sure that we're keeping this focused on things that we know. But you should assume, because you're working with Northbeam and we don't think MTA starts and ends just with Meta and Snap and Pinterest and everything else. MTA is about measuring attribution across 3 data sets: spend, engagement, and revenue. So wherever there's spend, wherever there's engagement, wherever there's revenue, Northbeam will be.
I love that. We got a question about profitability metrics and Amazon. Do you know what's possible, what's not possible there? Cool.
Yeah, the correlative analysis that profitability benchmarks does will work there. You will just notice, fun facts. I'm not gonna beat around the bush, that your profitability benchmark for a channel like Amazon will be dramatically, shockingly higher than your profitability benchmark for a different channel, because it skims and is paired with efforts you're doing elsewhere. And we don't want to pretend that those numbers are not different, but we want you to understand that the threshold for success across different platforms might be different.
Right, absolutely. I'm going to wrap us up here. We have a couple questions that I think I can answer. People are asking me, there's some logistics anonymous questions in the chat about things like the snaps, clicks, and views beta, other various betas, including questions about when customer journey will come out. So the betas, if you're in conversations with us, we'll continue chatting with you offline about that and let you know an update on timing. We're starting to firm some of that up, so that's going to come. Customer journey, I'm going to put that conversation in the same realm as site analytics. Repeating what Stas just said, we will be there if you want to know more and when that stuff's coming, because we don't want to speak to things that we haven't quite hammered out yet. Just get on our newsletter. I talk about this all the time. That's my job. So if you want to know more about that stuff, sign up there. And then I actually got a request here to pull some year-over-year data. I will get that to you all in the newsletter as soon as I can. I have some big, exciting database shifts happening in the background that's going to make this a little bit more accurate. That's going to cover Snap, X, and AppLovin spend, but that's thrown a big wrench in my kind of plans for that week-over-week reporting. So give me some time. I've got that stuff coming. And that wraps up all of our questions. If you didn't get your question answered, shoot us an email, hello@northbeam.io. We'll chat with you. That's the best way to get a hold of us. Sign up for our newsletter. That's the best way to stay on top of these webinars and others that come down. We're trying to make these really short and valuable for you all as quickly as we can. And that's it. Stas, unless you have anything else you want to add, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you all. Thank you for joining us, and let's make 2025 a memorable one.